Hi, I'm Melody. Online, I am Melody Crochet, and this is my very first podcast. So technically, this is the very first episode of the Melody Crochet podcast. I'm so glad if you're here to join me. Please be patient with me. I'm really nervous. I've tried this a few times, and I've decided that my best bet is just to play it naturally. I might make some mistakes, and I'm sure I'll catch them later. The whole point of this podcast is for me to document our life and the things I'm making, and I figure just going at that naturally is my best bet. This is my dog, Hunter. He's a Chiweenie. Hi. He's awesome. I have my pickles over there. She's all over my Snapchat. By the way, all my social tags are below. I plan to make a Ravelry group for this evening after I edit my very first editing experience. Wish me luck on that. I'm going to follow a pretty typical format for knitting and crochet podcasts. I made some notes just because I want to make sure I give credit to all the pattern writers and remember what needles and hook size I used. Aside from that, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Wish me luck. I'm a wife and mom here in Texas, and I love yarn, yoga, and basically just getting outdoors. We're really excited about summer. Here in Texas, it's a big deal. I'm preparing. Basically, the woolens that I've been knitting all year are probably going to have to be set aside pretty quick. It's getting pretty toasty, so I'm very deep into some cotton knitting this time of year. The sun is hot here. When we first moved here, I noticed a ton of tanning salons, and I didn't understand why, and now I do. You don't just take your bare skin out into the sun when it's 115 degrees. A nice cotton shawl or something to put over you when you're walking around really helps out. As do hats. I need to make some more summer hats. That's in my plans. And tank tops. I'm really deep into knitting tank tops. I actually signed up to help out with a test knit for, I forget her name. I love her name too. I'll remember it next time. But she has a test knit for a new tank top, and it actually looks like it's made of wool. I'm wondering if she would let me do some sock weight bamboo instead, because I can't imagine walking around in wool. Maybe it's not so bad since it's a tank top. You guys can let me know if you've had any experience in that. But the idea of walking around in a wool tank top is a little intimidating for me. Okay, I'm going to start with finished objects. I keep on grabbing my shawl because I've been knitting on this shawl for the last day and a half. And it's second nature to just grab my project. But I want to start with finished objects. Now, first off, I did a lot of cows in the last couple weeks. I really enjoyed them. I had a lot of reading cows recently. My first one, Hunter, can I scoot you? Do it up, honey. You got this. Gonna let me grab the yarn? He says no. No. I'm gonna need to. And it's Friday. I figure my best bet is to do this on Friday. Friday is my favorite day of the week. It's the day that we all hang out, relax in the evening, enjoy the fact that the work week and the school week is over, play video games, we rent a movie, and it's just great. Plus, who doesn't love the weekend? Every week, impress nails. They're just little fakey nails. I get them at the store. They're really short, so they don't get in the way of the knitting or crocheting at all. And if they did, they're not glued on or stuck on. They're basically press-ons. I had press-ons when I was little. And by little, I mean a teenager, like way back when. And those things did not stand for anything. But these are amazing. I have to take these off. They come with a little, I think it's an alcohol pad. There's some kind of liquid there that takes any oils off of your nails. And you just press these on. It takes me about 4 minutes, literally. And I have nails for the week. Nail polish on me just chips like crazy because I wash my hands a ton. So, it's Friday. I'm ready for Friday. I'm ready for this weekend. I have my magical cup of coffee. Did I spill? I don't think I did. but check it out. Got this at the Fiber Fest in DFW. Naughty hooker. It made me laugh so hard. Plus purple is my color. Okay. I'm still on my second cup of coffee. It's kind of early right now. I want to say it's about 10 o'clock. My older son, he's 19. He's about to be 20 next month. He just left for school. My first finished objects. This was a crochet along. I'm gonna go slowly so I can get this all down right. This was a crochet along with the Love Sock Wool podcast, and she encouraged us to read Anne of Green Gables, and I loved this book. I like to keep things positive. I like to keep things light, and this book was perfect for me. It was just so sweet and happy, and I mean, she had trials and tribulations, of course, but the whole series was just such an amazing thing to listen to. I went audiobook. They're all available for free to listen to on YouTube. I bought a couple of them with my Audible, but if you can listen on YouTube, it's so convenient. I listened all the way up through Rilla of Ingleside, and Rilla is Anne's daughter. So it was really fun. I enjoyed the series, and early on in the series, I want to say the first book, when Anne is going to her home for the first time, she renames the path to her home the White Way of Delight because of all the little white flowers on the green path, and I just had this visual of a roaming path of green and white. So I've wanted to crochet this shawl for quite a while. This is the Gettin' Ziggy shawl. It's a crocheted shawl in sock weight yarn, and it was written by Sandra at Cherry Heart. I have the link in my Ravelry. I'll also have the link on the show notes, but it's just beautiful. I used a D hook, I want to say, and she suggests an E hook, and I agree with her. Pretty much she was right all around. She said this was not an easy pattern because of this little section right there. Let me see if I can, right there. This is the challenging part. And basically, I crochet. I crochet a lot. I've crocheted for a while. I write crochet patterns. I have a big crochet ego. And I found this pattern, and I usually buy patterns, and I say "and" a lot right now. I'm trying to say this in the nicest way to me and without sounding like I'm bad-mouthing the pattern, because I am not. It's an awesome pattern, and I will make this again. But it took me a couple tries, and that made me angry. This had to go in timeout after about 45 minutes of me making this little section. And then I picked it up because I want this shawl. I picked it up and I actually just got my hook, got my yarn, put myself in a quiet place for a second, read the pattern, and as I read it with each step, did what it told me, and sure enough, worked up first try. It's just, I'm not used to having to pay that much of attention on a crochet pattern. And she warned everybody. She said in there, this is not a beginning pattern. You will have to pay attention. I mean, she had a whole little segment on her own podcast about it, which I love. I love your podcast. And once you do it, the rest of it just happens too. It's easy as pie. But I did have to pay attention, which surprised me. So it was awkward for a minute. My ego had to take the back seat, and that's good for me. So here we are. This is, I wrote down the yarn here. This is Misty Alpaca Tonos Carnival in Bird Sided. And there are 4 fibers in here. It is alpaca, merino, silk, and a little bit of nylon. I imagine for strength. And it is strong. I tried a few times at the end before going on to the white. I tried to break it with my hands, and I do that all the time with yarn. I probably have a notch in my finger from it. It didn't break. it would have rather cut through my finger than break. It was amazing, and I love the colors, how they go in and out. Oh, it is so beautifully tonal, and it has a little bit of a halo. I'm not sure if that's going to show up. It's absolutely beautiful. I would love to get some more because it's really rare for me to find something that can be crocheted so small, have a halo, and still have stitch definition. That is awesome. I love it. I would love to put something in some, I love a halo. It's just beautiful. My white yarn is just Serenity Deborah Norville sock yarn from Joann's. I wanted a nice strong contrast, and I was going to use something that I would dye, but my sock yarn tends to be a little thicker and theirs is nice and thin, so I just went for it. And if I had to do this over again, I would listen to her instructions and use an E hook, maybe even an F, because I just love the drape. And she also suggested making, I think it was 3 more repetitions of the pattern, but I wanted it to be kerchief style. But I think that if I did 2 or 3 more repetitions like she suggested, it would still be just fine as far as kerchief style, and I could wear it as a bit more of a shawl. If I wear it as a shawl over my shoulders at this point, it's not terrible, but I think it would require some pom-poms or some tassels or something just to keep it in place. I will be making another one. For sure, a black or navy one with white stripes, and I would like to make a red and pink speckled one for Valentine's Day. Next project that I finished this week was also an along, and this one was with the Cherry Heart and Betsy Makes podcast and blogs, and it was also about a book series. It was called The Hotel of Bees shawl, and the book was called All the Light We Cannot See, and I've tried to listen to it. I got it on Audible. It's starting off so sadly though. I'd love to hear that it gets a little happier, because I don't know if I want that many more hours of sadness. It's beautifully written, but I'm just not in the mood for sad right now. Hopefully it gets a little more upbeat, but I might get in the mood for it later. But as it is, the shawl only took me about 2-3 days to finish, so I didn't really listen to much of the book while I was crocheting. And here she is. Let me make sure I have the right side. Yep. There she is. Woo. She's big. There she is. Woo. There's more of her. She's got tail. Okay. Basically, sections. This is the wing section. And I guess I should show. This is the wing section. It's supposed to look like little wings. Here we have a little honeycomb section. These little baubles are representative of the bees. If you open them up, you can see the wings. So creative. Such a great pattern. The pattern was written by Christina Hattering over at A Spoonful of Yarn. I love this cotton yarn from Hobby Lobby. I call it worsted weight. I believe it's labeled as Aran weight, but I've never had a problem replacing a worsted weight yarn with this, and I think it would be a little thin for Aran weight, in my opinion. I used a G hook. She suggested using a smaller hook, of course, but she suggested using sport weight yarn, so I upped the hook a little and I upped the yarn kind of a lot so that I would get something that would cover me a little bit more. Here is a little section of filet crochet, and that is actually a little shorter than suggested because I lost a few of my numbers here. I just kind of went off on my own on the honeycomb, and I lost a couple of numbers, and it grew. So in order to compensate for that, I did about 3 rows less of this part. Then back to the wings. Another honeycomb section. More bees. A smaller filet crochet. Then I went to my darkest color, which is pewter. The yellow is called curry. Another honeycomb section, another bee section, a little lace, and that was it. And it was awesome. It was a great crochet. I would definitely do it again. I don't know if I will make another one because this will pretty much suit me. Being cotton, it's going to be great for covering up. It already has been, just over a sundress or something when you're out in the sun, because I don't need a burn. This is for my friend. He lives in New York, and his girlfriend was telling me the other day, we play video games online. We're big Final Fantasy players. And his girlfriend was telling me in New York on the subway, and who knows how cold it gets. I can't even imagine. He goes out without a hat and scarf. And I said, no way. Now, since this is a gift knit, I used Encore worsted. There's a lot of acrylic in there. I want to say 75-25 acrylic to wool. So it is still super toasty. It's actually pretty soft too. I made my son a sweater out of this yarn, and I plan to make him another sweater out of this yarn. It's great for kids. He's 7, so I don't expect too much. When you send him to school and something, you expect anything to come back. You can't really just be like, oh, take good care of that, because it's just not going to happen. And I love this pattern. It's the Graham pattern. I believe that's free on Ravelry. It's in my pages. I keep my Ravelry pages updated as I work all the time. More for me than anyone else. I love looking back and seeing what needle size I used and such. And I made this on DPNs. I think next time I would prefer Magic Circle, but I wasn't thinking like that at the time. It starts from the bottom up. You cast on, you go for a couple of inches of this ribbing. It's just a 1 and 1, and it's actually worked inside out. So it looked like this the entire time I was knitting it, which was not awesome. I was like, that is not coming out nearly as detailed as the pictures. Then you get done after you bring all of the decreases in at the top, and you turn it right side out. And then I was like, it's magical. I'm gonna need a purple one for myself, right? I'm really pleased with it. So I think he's gonna like it, and it's gonna keep him warm. This rib is really squishy, and it used a good portion of that yarn, even for a knitted hat. I think that I would have probably used a little bit more if I crocheted. Crochet takes more yarn. I heard it takes about 1/3 more yarn. My own experience is that it seems a little bit more like 1.5, but that might be me. I use very loose stitches on my knitting. I knit continental. So I made this up. I believe my needles, I wrote them down. Things like that elude me. You start with the smaller needle by 2 sizes. I used 5s and then 7s here, which means she probably suggested 6 and 8s. I always size down 1 needle size, and I end up at gauge. So far it hasn't been an issue. And yeah, I used my bamboo DPNs because this yarn has a tendency to want to slide quite a bit, so I wouldn't have used my metal ones. And it wasn't the easiest knit. I would definitely do Magic Circle next time on some metal ones, because then I wouldn't have to worry about it slipping off the other DPNs while I'm working. So next time circular. There will be a next time though. I'm thinking for me, I would use a deeper purple, probably do about 2-3 more inches of hat before my decreases, and probably a pom-pom. Okay. And I made these for me. They turned out husband size. This yarn is Done Roving Frolicking Feet. It's 100% wool, but feels very strong. It's very plump. I really enjoyed working with it, and these colors, I mean, this just sings to me. I love it. The hot pink and the green, plus I want to say, where are you in there? I made the vanilla sock my first afterthought heel for the Yarn Junkie podcast, along with the afterthought heel along. And these are for the Harry Potter love, the Weasley rib, about 4 repeats of Weasley rib. If I had it to do over again, I keep that Weasley rib for something more solid or something a little bit more just tonal perhaps, so I could see it without getting all muddy, because I think I lost the awesome of the Weasley rib inside all those colors. But it does look kind of cool. I like how it's got a little bit of modeling, just not a lot of definition in what I did. I think basically, I wrote down the notes on this. I'm gonna have to make socks for me that have the afterthought heel start about 1 inch lower, because this form fits my feet, and as you can see, there's a lot of extra. I can wear them at home, but they're pretty long for me. So my husband got a brand new pair of hot pink and green socks, which is fine. I have, there we are. I still have about 45 grams. I believe I measured in 45 grams, so I could definitely make some shorties for myself. And having matching socks is kind of romantic. Just making your husband hot pink socks, maybe not as romantic, but if you have a pair that match, that completely changes things, right? Amy at Bohemia Fibers is magic. She just is. I saw that my friend online had received her yarn club, and it was unicorn themed, and I was just so jealous. It's magical. It has the black to match everything I wear. It has this fuchsia. It has the teal and the turquoise. I don't know if that's going to show up, but it is turquoise down here and teal right by it, and they work beautifully by each other. And she did not have any glitter listed, so I asked her in my note, I said, I will take what you have because it's gorgeous, but if you have any glitter left. And sure enough, I got glitter. The shimmer on this is amazing. I've worked with Bohemia Fibers before a few times. She's one of my favorite dyers. And oh my gosh, I hope it shows up. Let's see. But the shimmer in the black is actually fuchsia toned. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is a sock head, and I think it's one of my favorite yarns that I've ever received. It's, you know, I mean, the base is pretty basic for shimmer. It's 75 merino, 20 nylon, 5 silver stellina, 438 yards, 100 grams. But it's so soft. She did a great job. Thank you so much, Amy. I'm just so glad she was able to send it to me. So often yarn clubs aren't open to other people for too long. But I'll be sure that I am part of her yarn clubs from now on, just to make sure that I don't miss out, because it's magical. Okay, so there's that, which I admit I've opened and reclosed it several times, and it has hung open on my bedroom door from a wreath hanger since I received it. It just makes me happy. I just love that. It is perfect. I wouldn't change a thing about it. Now, my next purchase, I was over at McKinney Knittery, and I've seen the Long Dog yarn, and she does such a great job. This is her twist base, and this is my mauve for the Yarngasm podcast mauve along. And I don't know what I want to make yet. There are little specks of very violet, blue, purple in there. And I wanted something to go along with that. So while I was over at DFW Fiber Fest 2 weeks ago, I was looking all over, but I just could not find any solids to fall in love with. And I wanted something tonal but nothing too bright because I wanted it to just be a compliment. So I dyed it myself. I got myself some Heritage Bear. So it's Heritage sock. I get the natural color, and I dyed kind of a bluey. I did some fuchsia, and then I put a very blue purple on top of it. And I think they're going to look really nice together. It plays on the pop of little dark speckles. I think they show up better on this end. My ball winder's having a fit recently, but I'm really excited about that. If anybody has suggestions for a nice 2-color project for 2 skeins, I am all ears. My next acquisition is this shepherd's wool. My husband picked it out while we were over in McKinney at the McKinney Knittery. It's a beautiful shop. And at first he had some Malabrigo Rios in his hand, and it was very pretty. It was just very tonal with lots of different kinds of green. It was so soft. I was really excited to knit him a hat out of it. But then he chose this instead, which leaves me a little stumped. I'm not sure what pattern would really take advantage of that heathering that's in there. I looked at the projects that are done and I didn't see one that I'd want to mimic for him. So if you have any suggestions on something that would look nice on a man with a little bit of heathering, either crochet or knit, I'm open. It's 250 yards. It says 4 ounces, 250 yards. It's not super wash, but it's still nice and squishy. Not crunchy at all. I think it would actually feel nice on your neck even though that's not an issue. It'll be on his head. But most of the natural wools like this get a little itchy feeling on my neck. And this feels really nice. I hope that noise isn't bothering you. Sounds like somebody outside is doing their yard. Okay. Also, since I was dyeing, whenever anyone says that online, my kids laugh. They're like, I'm going to be dyeing today. But as it is, hey Bob. I did have another one that I dyed. Where's my navy? I dyed myself some gray blue. Ooh, I'm making a mess out of this ball of yarn. So I dyed some gray blue. So I was also looking for some of this kind of a color at the Fiber Fest, because I'm going to make a Pebble Beach out of my Malabrigo sock in Light of Love. And I love this color, but I don't want to run out and have to start with another color and find out that the second ball is very different. So I want a contrast, just in case I want to make my Pebble Beach a little bigger than it turns out. Who knows, this could probably be more than enough, but I like to be prepared. So I figure if I do end up needing a complement on the trim, I think this will look really nice. I'm not 100% certain yet. I might go with black, but I wanted to dye some of this up just in case. So I went for a nice navy deep color with a little color to it though. It has some little purple pops in there and such. I went to the Fiber Fest. I worked every row. I went with Amber. We had such a nice time. Went through every row a couple times, and I just couldn't find what I needed as far as my basics, my neutrals. So I went ahead and just bought the natural, and I came home and just had a dyeing party. It was so much fun. I love dyeing yarn. And, oh, I did have one other thing I bought, which is going to melt us right on into my whips. At the TFW Fiber Fest, my first stop was Jinx Yarns. And I got my Pyreflies. We play Final Fantasy. This is Final Fantasy themed. I am in love with this. This is my Easter sock, so I cast on Easter. Like I said, I'm not quick. This is my car knitting. It's springtime, so I made a springy little bag from some fiber that I got. So, from some fabric that I got when I was walking around town. And I love this. This is yet another toe up. Toe up is not my natural way of making socks usually. This is new to me. But it's another afterthought heel. So it'll be in the Yarn Junkie podcast knit along. And there's my little provisional heel cast on. I'll probably take it, well, I have another 3/4 of an inch, and then I am going to decrease 4 stitches and continue up. And I'm going to make these will probably be my, I wouldn't say my first very long socks. I'm going to take this all the way as high as it'll go. I measured her out. She's 103 grams. I need 3 grams to go into my blanket. So I'm going to make it until this ball weighs 53 grams. I'm going to keep on going upward. She will get a contrast heel, but not a contrasting a cuff. No contrasting cuff, I don't think. Maybe, but I don't know. And this is the color of my heel, which I think looks really nice with it. Not too distracting. I really love the rainbow. I don't care to distract from it. I love this yarn. She does the best job. Those little tones within the colors are amazing. The gray is so pretty, and it is a shimmer. The shimmer didn't show up. She had some balls of yarn that were more shimmery. It is on a glitz base. She had some that were more shimmery, but they had a pinker tone to the entire ball of yarn, and I really love the cool tone and the purples. So I gave up a little shimmer, and I'm hoping once I wash a few times, maybe the shimmer will come out a little bit more. My fingers are crossed. But it's gonna take a long time, and I'm more than happy about it. I do have a project in mind. I want to get to this sock head once I'm done with my car project. So I'm kind of torn. I don't want to rush, but I really want the sock head. I might just cast on my sock head and make it my purse project and keep this in the car, because I don't want to wait to cast this on. I don't think it's going to hurt anything if I have 2 car projects at once, because I do not want to rush this at all. As long as it's done by next Easter, I'm a happy girl. I have my little stoppers on there. I buy these at Joann's because I do worry about the 9-inch circulars. This is a ChowGoo 9-inch circular that I bought a few weeks ago in McKinney. It's my second 9-inch circular, and it does slow me down. It does make my stitches bigger, so I couldn't change it out now if I wanted to. And I don't mind it. It's just so convenient to have it be so little and just throw it back in the bag. I have the stopper. I knit on them. Boop, boop. And then I just put the stopper on. I'm fiddling with my nails. It's the first day with the nails. I put them on about an hour ago. And I put it down. And when I have the magic circle, it's not inconvenient with the magic circle, but it's a little bit more fiddling. I still do it because I think I like the way my fabric looks a little bit better when I use magic circle, but I just like to have change, I think. I have my little, they're pretty, a friend of mine made me my little stitch markers, and they're really convenient for projects like this. I'm just marking the 2 sides so that I know where I'm going to do my decreases in that 3/4 of an inch, and then the markers will come out and I'll just put the progress keeper back on. That was the end of my acquisitions and the beginning of my works in progress. I have another sock. Might as well just go with the socks for start, right? I started this at Christmas. Forget Easter, right? I mean, I was saying, gee, that's going to take me a while. This is going to take me a while. If these get done, I'll be very proud of myself. They are living on, ooh, come up carefully. They are living on my favorite circular sock needles. I'd say my favorite circular needles, but I'm not sure. I haven't used any bigger ones. For bigger circular needles, my favorite is probably the Nova Platina, and I use those as interchangeables on my Knitter's Pride wires. I have the Knitter's Pride set, and I'm slowly changing all of them out to the Nova Patinas because for wool it just feels so much faster to me to have a nice metal pointy needle. I love it, and I love the sound it makes when they kind of shear against each other. It's so pretty. But I dyed this yarn myself. I'm pretty proud of it. It's got a lot of shimmer, and I wanted something that looked kind of terrestrial. This was for the Socks in Space cowl with, I know her name is transitory, oh, pin feathers and pearls. And I did the speckled space socks, but they take a little bit of attention because I have to pay a lot of attention to the pattern because it's so patterned the entire time. I'm really liking them though. Look at those Christmas Proctor's keepers. That's so awkward. It's just proof of when I started them. It was Christmas. And now it's May. But they're getting done. Slowly but surely. Like a couple rows here, a couple rows there. I really do enjoy making them. And they're magic circle, size 0. My socks are all size 0. I have a little selection of sock needles that kind of show my progress down from size 1.5 to size 1 to size 0, and I'm happy with size 0. My socks tend to be either 56 or 60 stitches around on size 0s, depending on the kind of needles I'm using. If I'm going magic circle, my stitches are as tight as they get, and that is good with a size with 56 stitches. If I'm on 9-inch, then I'm best off doing 56 stitches for my own feet. And I don't know, DPNs, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. My DPN stitches are pretty comfy. I love the carbons for my DPNs, but I do get a ladder and it kind of bugs me. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm excited to get them finished one day. But no rush, right? I keep socks on the needles for quite a while. And I sewed my own bag for that. Hobby Lobby had the fabric and it was just too perfect. So I'm watching Emma at Potter and Bloom, and she was making her North Took. I have a Canadian friend. He says it. He says it like he's not even thinking about it. Took. Took. It doesn't sound like there's an accent on any part of it when he says it, honestly. But I think it's just a toke. Toke. I say toke, but it's took. Something like that. I don't know. So I went over to see the designer so I could check out the hat a little bit more, and she had this. I need to look it up because I call it my Amma Grammy, but it's the Amma Granny Square top. And basically, granny squares, fingering weight yarn. You take it as wide as the front of your shirt, and then you go up a little bit over the shoulders and down the sides to connect a granny up front, a granny in back. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It links to her website for the pattern because it's so simple and quick. And it's beautiful. I'm loving the fabric. I went over to Michael's. It's purple. I hope that's registering. It's registering on my end. Oh, I've lost the yarn. How do I have the, oh, success. It's just some wool-like from Michael's. I bought a bunch of this when they first got it and then realized there's not a thing I'm going to do with that yarn. And I was so disappointed because it's soft. And it seems to be, I mean, it's lived in my stash and it's not fluffy or fuzzy or anything. But then I saw this project and I thought of the wool-like that is in my stash. I did have to go get another ball of purple. I had 2 balls of purple and I wanted a third just to be careful. I would hate to get that deep into a project because who knows how long it'll take me to make this and another one just like it, the size of the front and back of my shirt. I would love it this summer, but who knows. But I would hate to make it and then need more and show up at the store and find out they don't sell the purple anymore. I was at right around my birthday, and it was a big birthday. I was in Fiber Circle, which is in a city called Farmersville locally. And it has the largest yarn store in the tri-state area. And it is epic. It is 2 stories, chock full of yarn. Upstairs is the novelty yarn, the cotton, the acrylics, and downstairs is all the wool and the higher end stuff. She has an amazing selection. It's just beautiful there. I go there and it's just, I could spend hours just doing figure eights around that store, upstairs, downstairs, and she's so nice. Diane that runs the store, or owns the store, she's so nice. She never makes you feel like you're being crazy at all. You don't feel stalked or anything. I mean, seriously, I've done a few twirls there with my camera when I first walk in. I don't know if any of them have been on any platform that was permanent. I know like Snapchat and stories goes away after a day, so I'm not sure if I've done anything that would stay, but honestly, it's just visualize as much yarn as you can fit into a store and then double it and you have Fiber Circle. It is magical. So, but I'm walking around there and among all that yarn, this called me. This is my first cashmere. It's coming off a little different than it actually is. Oh, there it is. There's a lot of purple, a lot of teal, a lot of green, and that reddish color is actually deep fuchsia. A lot of fuchsia-y pink in here. And it's beautiful. It is dream in color, smushy with cashmere. So it's fingering weight, super soft. And the first thing I thought is I need 3 balls of this because I'm going to need a lightweight sweater for this summer. I have made the Ultra Stratus before. And that's a pattern, paid for pattern by Lisa Much. And the pattern was gifted to me by my friend Joelle, who also gifted me the yarn for my first Ultra Stratus, which was in Knit Pick Stroll. It was tonal in the colorway Gypsy, so it's red. I really enjoy it, although it was my 2nd or 3rd project, and I need to take out the neckline and do a new bind off with something stretchy. I didn't know to do that at the time, so it kind of pulls up around my neck. I wear it all the time anyway. I mean, it is just wrought with mistakes. It's amazing, but I think of it as kind of like a baby project. So I look back at it and it all makes me smile. I was still twisting my pearl stitches at that point. So on the sleeve, the pearls are all like got a little line on each row. It was so sweet. And it doesn't stretch as well because I was twisting my pearls. So this one's going to be a better knit technically. And I'm really excited to have it just because look at that. It's beautiful. I got a little bit farther, I'd say about 3-4 more inches during a car ride that we took to Austin. And I'd say while I was there, about 3/4 of the way home, I realized that the lapel had this little knot. I somehow in the increase or decrease made a mess of the lapel. And normally I'm not a perfectionist by any means, but right on the lapel, right in the front on my birthday yarn, I went ahead and tinked back on that. So I lost a few inches, and I really want this sweater this year. So once I finish my 2 works in progress that I mentioned, I have one more to mention, but I need to finish the crochet shawl, which will probably be done tonight. This is on my Nova Patinas on a Knitter's Pride cord. I'm just using plain old stitch markers and some ice cream colors to separate my increases and decreases. I have some fun stuff in my bag for it. Got these. Got these. Love those. Sharp scissors, a must. Got some tufts in chai spice. This stuff smells like magic. I'm serious. You just take it, you swipe it all over. Ooh, got caught in my ring. Boop, boop. And you rub it in, and your hands are not greasy. They don't grab at the yarn, wool or acrylic or cotton at all. It's amazing. And it smells so good. It smells just like a chai latte. Oh my gosh. All the smells are amazing, but chai is just absolutely magical. And then pop it on back down. Keep that in my bag. My stitch counter. Apparently I was at 90 at some point. I no longer am at 90. The little pumpkin pie. I love that. All the fun stuff's in this bag. Gracious. A little Moogle stitch marker from my son. And of course, to tighten up those cords. So, all this is living in this bag, waiting for me to catch up on my 2 works in progress so I could just take off with it and have it by this summer. So after my 2 shawls are done, this happens. This is just full force, 100%. Car knitting be damned. I don't care. Everything else takes a back seat. This sweater, I want it on my body. So if you see me and I'm not knitting this sweater, ask me where the heck my sweater is. Okay, my next work in progress is in this beautiful HKNT bag. Thank you so much, girl, and the biggest congratulations to you. My next project is for the Outlander knit along. Let me see, who is doing the Outlander knit along? I believe that's Jilly, am I right? Yep, knitting broomstick and stitching the high notes, which I really like her Ravelry page. I haven't watched Stitching the High Notes, and I really enjoyed the Ravelry page. I believe I watched a few minutes of her podcast, but I love Jilly over at Knitting Broomstick. You're right up my alley. You have a lot of babies. You're amazing. That's amazing. Whenever I see people with a bunch of little babies, I'm just amazed by that, because I have a 12-year spread between 2 boys, and the idea of having more that are little and being outnumbered, that intimidates me. So congratulations, and beautiful family. Oh my gosh. And I'm really enjoying your knit alongs. So here's my pattern. Boop. In the cute little bag, which my main request, I love the bright colors, and I love a bag that has a wrist strap so I can carry the yarn on my wrist while I'm knitting. And this is the Over the Sea to Sky shawl. I hope I didn't just destroy that. I keep putting things on top of the microphone. I'll stop that soon. And I am mid-row. It is super pretty though. It's almost like a sampler shawl. It changes every few rows. We've got some stockinette, we got some knit, we got some lace, and now we're on, what do you call this? The eyelet lace, I believe they call it. And this is going to be the halfway portion. So after this, the pattern repeats up, but it gets wider and wider, of course. And I believe it's going to be to about 250 stitches wide, so not too bad. I have a dream that this will be done by next week, and I'll be working full force on my sweater. But it's cotton. It's another, I love this cotton pattern. It's another, I love this cotton yarn project. I have so much of it in stock. I love, for a while I was just really big on my dishcloth kick, and I just collected all the colors. And I love to make amigurumi, and when I make my amis, I like them in cotton. I have a big stash of Red Heart Super Saver because that's what I used to use for them, but then I moved to doing them in cotton, and I love this cotton is great for amis, and I just love the finished product a lot more. So I'm thinking I might need to get rid of my stash of Red Heart Super Saver and give that space to my I love this cotton. That way I can see it all the time. I have a bookcase where I have all of my yarn stored, because if I don't see it, I do tend to buy more of it in the same colors, and then I pull everything out and find out that I have a bunch of the same stuff, and that really bugs me because I could have gotten more stuff, right? More stuff. I'm not a huge shopper, but I do love my yarn, and I like to have a diversity in colors. So there's him so far. He is on my Knitter's Pride interchangeables, and this is a size 6, which means they probably suggested a size 7. and I'm really excited to get this done. I love the Outlander book series. It was so beautiful. I listened to it on Audible. Those books are about 30 hours long near the end there. I listened to every one of them. They're so good, and I'm glad I did the Audible thing because that means I can listen to them again. So I have about 5 balls of this. It's in the colorway Royalty. I love that bluey cobalt color. It's gorgeous. And I really think I'm going to enjoy that shawl. Or I'll gift it. I'm not sure. And that is what I've made this week. And thank you so much for stopping by. I've really enjoyed this. I am really excited to get more comfortable at doing this and to find my quirks and fix them up. And if you have any questions, please just shoot me a message. I'll be making my Ravelry board today. After I edit this, I'll be posting my show notes there and on my blog, MelodyCrochet.com. And my social tags, once again, are below. If you'd like to subscribe, that's also below. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye.